Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Random Episode. This is the podcast where we watch a random episode of a TV show from a random series that neither of us have watched before. I'm Varun.
And I'm Christie.
As always, we like to give credit for our amazing intro song to our friend, Large Jesus. God bless you, Large Jesus. All right, so this week we are talking about ER, Season 2, Episode 10, A Miracle Happens Here. This one aired December 14th, 1995 on NBC. So, Christy, everyone knew ER.
Yeah.
So what did you know about this show before watching it?
I actually thought I knew a lot. And then after watching this episode and doing a deep dive, I was like, I don't feel like I actually knew anything. But what I thought I knew about ER, I remember it from the 90s. So I definitely remember my parents watched it. So we were in elementary school. I want to say it was somehow part of NBC's must-see TV. There was some kind of must-see TV going on with it because I remember we were allowed to watch Friends, which was on at 8. And then ER didn't come on till 9 or 10 or something. So we never got, kids didn't get to watch ER. That was an adult show. So that's kind of my frame of reference for it was an adults only show about something medical related in the 90s. So that, I don't know. So I feel like I knew some things, but I hadn't actually ever seen it. What about you?
My parents never really watched ER. At least I
Okay.
don't remember. I'm sure that they will, correct me if I'm wrong there. But yeah, we were a big NBC family. We watched, Will and Grace, Friends.
Yeah, that was another one. Yeah.
All of those, right? And this was on the Thursday night.
Yeah. Okay, that's what I thought. Yeah, must-see TV.
It would have been part of that lineup.
Yeah.
But I should have checked what time this one came
It
on.
had to either be 9 or 10.
Yes.
This was one of those late night because it was for adults, I guess.
I don't know why it's for adults, though.
I know. Okay, I thought that too after watching it. I was like, this really wasn't adult content.
Because I do remember this being a much more mature show.
Yeah.
It wasn't really for the family.
Yeah.
I don't know why I thought
Maybe
that.
just this episode we watched wasn't mature, but yeah, I don't know what was so mature about this.
Yeah.
Blood? I don't know.
I can see why it's not for kids.
Yeah.
Because, it's not going to hold the interest of
Sure.
kids or teenagers, anything like that.
Yeah. But you know what was so baffling to me as I realized this? The episode we watched is from 30 years ago.
Oh, my
Bart.
God.
This is 30 years ago. In my head, I was
Yeah, 1995.
okay, sorry,
We're not there
29.
yet.
Okay, basically 30 years ago. So, in my head, I'm oh, yeah, back when I used to watch this with my parents, 10, 15 years ago. In my head, this was not that long ago. 30 years, Bart. We are so old.
We are very old now.
So that was crazy to me. While watching it, it's pretty clear how dated this is and how old this is, and we'll talk about that. But I can't believe how old we are.
I know.
It's wild. And I will say, I did a bit more of an IMDb deep dive than I usually do for shows. Just
Okay.
because it's I don't know. I feel as we were watching it, I was I know all these actors and actresses. I just feel this was kind of an important, pivotal TV show in pop culture. So I just felt I needed to look into it more. But we'll talk about that.
But it was funny because a lot of the actors in this show, even the small characters, I was hey, that person's from this thing, and this person's from
Exactly.
that thing. So again, I don't know if this was just a place that this show attracted a lot of big names, or
Yeah.
if this was just a jumping off point
I know.
for a lot of people's careers.
Yeah. Well, and then did you also note that this had 15 seasons?
Yes.
So that's also so absurd to me. This, I was just talking to Cal, my husband, about this. This show was literally on when we were in elementary school, middle school, high school, and college. This show was on for our entire
Oh my
upbringing,
God.
existence. Isn't that wild?
Now I did not realize that, but now you say that, that is insane.
I know, and I definitely didn't realize that it was still on through 2009. I just assumed it was long over with by then, but somehow it was still going. With a completely different cast, though. Again, I did a deep dive. All those stars that we're seeing in this 90s version are gone.
So no one from the 90s.
As far as I can
Made
see,
it through.
it's pretty much everybody at some point gets replaced and a whole new group of people are coming in. As far as I know, I didn't go that deep.
No. Did they end up dying in the emergency room?
Okay, again, I really don't want to talk constantly about Grey's Anatomy because I feel like other episodes I've also done a lot of comparison to Grey's Anatomy. But I can't help but, notice this is a medical drama that's going on for like way too many seasons. Like half the cast turns over. It's a whole new cast by like season 15. I don't know. I mean, I honestly think that's kind of where the comparison stops for Grey's Anatomy, so I probably won't hark on that today. But that part of it feels like it's just typical of a medical drama.
I mean, there's just so much there to keep the drama going that's why these shows last so long. I'm guessing.
Yeah. Anyway, I'm going to try really hard not to make any more comparisons to Grey's Anatomy, but it probably won't happen.
Well, but here's the other interesting thing is that my wife, she was saying that she loved ER. She watched it when she was younger.
As a child?
I don't know, as a child.
Adult content as a child? No.
I don't know if she watched it as a child, but definitely as she grew up.
Interesting.
But she was saying how ER led the way for so many other medical shows. Not only Grey's Anatomy, but also, Scrubs.
Yeah.
And because I kept seeing comparisons to Scrubs. How Scrubs was like the comedic version of ER.
Yeah, no, you're right. I mean, yeah, I would agree with that. And I think those are the two that stuck in my head throughout this whole thing was Grey's Anatomy and Scrubs, because those are the two other medical shows that I've watched in my lifetime. So I'm sure we'll, bring those up again.
Absolutely. All right. So let's hop into the episode.
Yeah.
A lot went on in this 45 minutes of TV. So let's focus first on Mark, a.k.a. Dr. Green.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So first time we see him is a couple minutes into the episode, and he is with a lawyer, his lawyer, maybe the hospital's lawyer. That's what I took away as maybe the hospital's lawyer. And they're talking about what seems a medical malpractice case that he's involved with, something about a woman and a child, and how the lawyer is pushing for settling.
Yeah. So it seems like he was part of like a wrongful death situation. It sounded like a woman died in childbirth, right? Because then like her kid was there and whatever. Okay, before we really talk about him, do you know this actor, Anthony Edwards?
Only from ER and commercials for ER.
Okay, I IMDb'd him because this is the thing. On ER, he's kind of like the headliner, and it seemed like he was kind of the main character, which confused me because he's not the attractive one. Like, I don't understand the appeal of this guy and why he would be the main character. Okay, Varun, he was Goose from Top Gun.
Holy shit. Oh my God. Oh my God.
I would have had no idea because he looks different. Like
he looks so different.
He was not attractive in ER to me. Like I thought he was like this nerdy, like just nerd doctor.
Are you kidding? You just blew my mind. You just blew my damn mind.
Thank you. This is why I had to do an IMDb deep dive. So literally his IMDb, it's like he was Goose and then he was in ER. And like that's it. Like that's his, I mean, he was in other things, but nothing else big. Crazy, right?
That's crazy. I mean, good for him. I mean, he's got,
Yeah, but now it kind of checks out as to why he was like their headliner because, mid-90s, they're like, oh, we got Goose from Top Gun, people. Anyway, so that's my side note about him. But yeah, so he does seem to appear to be kind of the like one of the main doctors because there's a lot of people in this cast. Yes. And I feel like he's one of the stars.
And he seems to be the character itself. Seems to be the hard-ass doctor. Like, he's the one who seems to be truly dedicated to the craft, and he's the one who stays long hours. At the end of the episode, he's the one who's still at the hospital while everyone else is at the party.
Yeah, and part of his storylines, we're seeing that, like, it seems like he's getting divorced or, like, there's a separation. So clearly, like, his marriage isn't working out. Like, he has a daughter that he's probably not seeing that often. So, yeah, I don't know. I feel like sad for this character. He doesn't seem happy. And now he's like in this medical malpractice lawsuit.
Right, because I think he takes every case to heart. I think he's truly passionate and cannot unplug from his work. I'm going to guess he's one of those characters type people. Because, when he sees the kid in the opening scene on the way to the bathroom, he picks him up, which I don't know why he would pick up a random kid that he's passing around the corner, but he picks up the kid. And then notices who the kid is and then sees the father. And it's a whole awkward situation.
And Varun, who's the father? Do you recognize?
Aside from Billy Madison.
Yeah, it's Bradley Whitford.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like, The West Wing.
Oh yeah, the West Wing.
Like
right.
he was like
Yeah.
a huge star at this time as well.
I connect him as a male who grew up in the 90s. I connect him with Billy Madison.
I mean, obviously also Billy Madison, but like I can't remember if the West Wing. I feel like the West Wing started after this. If this was 1995,
Yeah,
like
I think
similar. So I feel like this was when Bradley Whitford was like maybe still just starting. I mean, he had been in Billy Madison at this point.
Yeah.
But also he was in this episode for 0.5 seconds. Because I was like, oh, Bradley Whitford's in this episode, and he never is back.
But he had to have been in the past episode.
That's what like
when his wife passed away.
Yeah, but this is what I guess we can kind of get into like the overall what the show is like, but it just feels like no storyline was fully developed within this episode. Like in this one episode, we saw 10 seconds of each story. Yes. So I'm like, okay, so I guess this is something that's been going on and will continue. But I don't appreciate that I saw 10 seconds of this malpractice suit storyline, and that's all I get this whole episode.
Because then we hopped over to his next storyline, which I was struggling to see how it connected to the beginning, because I'm sure it connected somehow. Mm-hmm. But the grandmother, the Holocaust survivor, the grandmother, who, she gets wheeled in. Mark is, I guess, the assigned doctor. Mm-hmm. She has a concussion, and then she tells them that there's a baby in the car.
Because she was a carjack. She was carjacking.
Yeah, correct, yes. She's carjacking. There's a baby. At first, I thought it was going to come out that she was crazy,
That's
or she's like flashed back to the Holocaust, to the concentration camp. But no, there was a baby.
Yeah.
But it took them a while to find the baby.
Yeah.
And they were, the grandmother and Mark were connecting, talking about their religion.
Do you get the sense that he's also Jewish?
Well, he said he's
that's what I thought.
He said he's the son of an agnostic Jew.
And
a Catholic.
Okay, yeah. I mean, his name is Dr. Green. I assumed he was.
Yeah.
And so he did say that. I guess I missed that part. I don't know. There's so much going on.
There's
a lot happening in the ER right now. But okay, so then this is another just like piece that dates the episode. Like the fact that this just like Holocaust survivor is just like there. Because it was 30 years ago.
Yeah,
like this
exactly.
is what I'm like, 30 years ago. Yeah. Like there were just a lot more Holocaust survivors that could like come into the ER. I just feel like that's unfortunately like so rare now because 30 years later, it's just wild.
When they said Holocaust survivor, I think her oxygen mask was still on.
Yeah.
I was fully expecting, frail person, white hair. And then, we see her and she seems like, a normal grandmother. I'm like, oh yeah, this is the 90s.
I know. That really, like, that was one of the first parts that I really connected. Oh, this is 30 years ago. Like, that's why this is able to
That's the time. Not the clothes.
No, it's like, nope, yep, this is real. But yeah, so he's very focused like in the ER on the grandmother. But yeah, you're right. Like I really thought this was going to be more of like a dramatic police involved situation, but they find the baby. I don't know. I just feel like it wrapped up so nicely.
It did.
Okay, they found the baby. Everything's fine.
This is a holiday episode,
Yeah.
so it does have to have a nice ending. Has to have a happy ending.
Yeah. So I guess the whole thing is like Dr. Green is, I don't know, learning to reconnect with his religious roots in some way from this experience with this Jewish woman.
But how does that connect to the malpractice in the beginning?
I think there's no connection.
This part of him processing the...
I don't know.
Maybe in the previous episodes, it really hit him that this woman passed away.
Yeah.
And so maybe in this episode, it's all about connecting with his religion, which maybe is what's going to help him process this death that was on his hands.
I don't know. Either that or they're like, we need a holiday episode. Let's talk about Hanukkah. Because then like they celebrate Hanukkah in the hospital and which I did kind of appreciate. Like this is the 90s and the fact that their holiday episode was like Hanukkah centric. I mean, they also had the element of Christmas too, but I was like pleasantly surprised that they had this whole like Judaism Hanukkah storyline in an ostensibly like a Christmas period episode. Yeah, I was impressed.
It was great.
Yeah, it was wild. Anyway, other than that, I don't know. I just feel like we didn't get a lot of Dr. Green other than his life kind of sucks. But I'm glad he's found God, I guess.
Now, is there something going on with the other doctor, Susan? I believe it is her name. Because remember in the break between Mark and Susan, because in the break
Is there?
room, he was complaining about his ex-wife and how his ex-wife is trying to keep their daughter for longer.
Yeah.
And then this other doctor said, "Hey, my kid and I would love for you to come and join us for something."
I thought she was just being nice.
Maybe.
You think they're like together?
Well, seeing as how everyone in this show is with someone else in this show,
Maybe.
like everyone is dating either another doctor, or they're dating another nurse.
Did you get that? Okay, I was actually going to say my main critique of this show is there's like not enough hookups, relationship drama. Again, sorry, I'm too like in the Grey's Anatomy world. And even Scrubs though, like people are like hooking up in the like, sleep quarters or whatever. Like I just feel like every other medical show that I at least know, there's a lot more like, I don't know, sexual relations in the workplace, in the hospital. And this, I felt like had none of that.
I am going to say that I think in season 1, that's probably where a lot of these relationships started. And it was probably a little more scandalous. Like Carol and Shep, the EMT.
Maybe.
And, it looks like Peter and the person he was at the very end of the episode was talking to.
Yeah.
And, it seemed like they had a past relationship.
I don't know. I just felt like maybe it was just this episode. I just felt like it was very focused on the medical aspect and not very focused on the relationship aspect. And I don't know. I guess it's a medical
It is a medical show.
But I don't know. The balance of like medical versus relationship drama, it was off balance for me personally. Too heavy on the blood and surgery and like medical procedures.
No, I see that.
But maybe that's just me. And the other thing though too is, I guess I realized, I looked this up on IMDb, so I was like reading about the show, and it said that the like fast-paced nature and like how it just bounces from like scene to scene and medical is intentional because they're trying to like be more realistic to what it's actually like being in an ER.
Okay, great.
And I got that.
I wrote that down.
Yes. Like I will say, compared to the other shows, this is much more realistic to an actual hospital in my mind.
No, and I agree. I liked how at any moment someone was bursting through those doors, some new patient, some new trauma, some new accident. It was a bit too much because I couldn't really
there was so much trauma coming in.
Because you can't really connect with any of these storylines.
Yes.
And, boom, something new comes in and then someone dies and you're supposed to connect with them, which we'll get to the priest later.
Yeah.
But I got the sense of that, of why, because this is supposed to reflect what it's actually like in an ER.
Yeah. But again, some people might be excited about that, but to me it's like too realistic. Like, I like reality things, but like I don't want to really feel like I'm in an emergency room. I want to like be involved in the drama and the relationships and the hookups with the doctors. That's why I prefer Grey's Anatomy, sorry. But like that's my feelings.
Well, for me personally, what's going to pull me into a show and connect me with the show is going to be the storylines and pulling me through from the beginning of the episode to the end of the episode and wanting to see what's going to happen from point A to point B all the way to the end to point Z. But with this one, it was way too all over the place.
Yeah.
And I just felt distracted. I found myself getting distracted, thinking about other things. I don't think I actually pulled out my phone, but yeah, a thought came across my mind because I didn't want to invest myself in, oh, boom, new storyline popped up or something came up, and I just wasn't for me in that sense.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, you're right. Like the only kind of, to me, storylines that had like a beginning and an end were like the Jewish grandmother coming in, and then we can get into the other big, like, I guess, emergency was like the Christmas nativity scene gone wrong, right? Because then
Missing
it's like,
Santa Claus, you mean?
like the Santa, like, right? There's like the Santa Claus. There's like the kids who got the Zamboni, like ran over a bunch of kids.
That
right?
was so random.
But then was that connected to the Santa Claus? I thought
No.
that was. Oh, I thought that was all connected.
I don't think so,
my God,
unless there's
there's
supposed
too
to be something
much.
about the angels and all of them coming in. Maybe I don't think there was. I don't
Okay,
think
so
there's
the
connection.
Zamboni accident and all the kids getting injured was like its own thing. No, now that you mention it, I think you're right. But then like the nurse, Carol, getting with the, like not getting with, but helping the guy who looked like Santa Claus, was that its own thing?
I mean, his name was Klaus
Yeah.
too. So again, and this was so 90s, right? Or so 1900s too, I guess.
The late
Of like
1900s.
exactly
as
because
the kids say.
it's like Miracle on 34th
It was like
Street,
Miracle on 34th
right?
Street, like a ripoff.
Yeah, it was a straight up ripoff of that. Of this guy comes in, you think he's a fake Santa Claus, or he likes to act like Santa Claus,
Yes.
but is he actually Santa Claus?
Yeah.
Well, yes, he is apparently.
Well, but that didn't even. Now that I'm saying, like, I don't think that storyline even got wrapped up. But I think the point of that was Carol's. So should we talk about Carol?
Let's go.
Because like that's her storyline. I feel like is involved with Santa.
Yeah.
I don't know. So she's the one who is in the first scene in the freezing cold apartment. That's Carol,
Yes.
right?
I'm guessing doctors in Chicago in an emergency room don't get paid that much because.
Well, she's a nurse.
She's a nurse?
I looked it up because I wasn't sure, and then I
that
looked at it. Yeah, yeah.
So I'm sorry for any nurses out
I
there.
know. We
in
very much
Chicago,
appreciate all
and
the nurses. You all are
yes.
amazing, and we recognize you are underpaid.
You are underpaid. But yeah, it looks like she went out and bought a crappy house that has a hole in the roof.
In the roof. How did it pass inspection? Clearly, no contingencies.
No, not at all.
My
The
God.
90s, man. The 90s.
Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, it's a freezing cold house. Apparently, she's in a relationship with Shep the EMT.
Yeah.
They're not married. They've been together, but she's got this house, and it's really crappy. Needs a lot of work, and snow falls down from through the ceiling, through the roof, onto the bottom floor.
Yeah. But you know what? She's super into Christmas. And so she like loves the fact that it's snowing in her house, and she wants to like still have Christmas with a Christmas tree,
Right.
even though the furnace is broken and the fireplace is broken. I don't know. She loves Christmas, which again, like becomes a thing as like a through line throughout the episode, that she like wants to do all the Christmassy stuff.
Right. Because the folks from recovery upstairs,
Yeah.
They are excellent carol singers.
Yeah.
And we see them singing, but apparently Carol signed up their crew to sing up in the recovery ward carols as well. And so again, all part of her love of Christmas.
It was really messing with me that her name is Carol. Like, it took me a while. Again, IMDb helped me because I was like, are they talking about Christmas carols, or is her name Carol? Like, there's a lot of the word Carol going on. Was it just like coincidence that she loves Christmas carols and her name is Carol?
I wish they would have played off of her name
Right?
more.
I know, like that felt like a missed opportunity.
Exactly. Like you are all co-workers, very close, very intimate. Make fun of each other. Make fun of her for for loving Christmas and her name being Carol.
I know. Yeah, no, that was completely, nobody brought that up in any way, shape, or form, and I felt like that's a missed opportunity.
Not even Santa Claus brought it up. I mean,
Right? Like,
you could have brought it
your
up.
name's Nurse Carol, like Christmas carols. No. But again, like, but her whole purpose of this whole episode was like trying to get people to sing Christmas carols. Like, that's what it kept coming back up every time she was in a scene. She was asking people like, okay, who's in? Like, who's going to go carol with me? And it never came up that that's literally her name.
Yeah.
I don't know. But
Missed
so yeah,
opportunity.
so like this fake Santa guy, I guess inspires her to, I guess, eventually go sing by herself.
Well, so
Right?
I think the whole
Like-
thing is that being in the ER, everyone else, she is losing the sense of Christmas and the joy
Okay.
of Christmas on this day, and she's feeling very depressed, and all she wants to do is be happy. And
Okay, yeah.
Santa
The-
Claus is
the
here,
Santa guy makes
and
her
he's the
happy.
only one who's happy, and so she then gets inspired
Okay.
to, go upstairs and start singing carols.
Yeah, that checks out. Yeah. Okay. So, I mean, to me, that was like kind of her entire, again, purpose. Like, it just doesn't feel like character development. I don't know. Did we learn anything new throughout about her life? Well, I guess at the end, her boyfriend says, I love you.
Yeah.
Is that related to her love of Christmas? Unclear.
I mean, I think that's pretty special to have your boyfriend finally say, I'm going to assume,
Yeah, how long have they been together?
finally
Who
say,
knows?
I love you
Yeah.
on
no,
Christmas, on your
Yeah.
favorite
On your
day.
favorite holiday. Yeah.
So I can see that. I like that.
Yeah. And then, by the end of it, everybody's fine with just hanging out at her freezing cold roof hole house. But I guess they're drunk, so it's fine.
It's fine.
Yeah. No. I mean, so at the end of the day, like, she has a great Christmas party with her great boyfriend who says, I love you. And they make out on the floor and she's happy.
And was this actually Christmas Day?
That's also unclear to me, like, what day it is. I don't think it's Christmas Day. Maybe it was Christmas Eve.
Or Christmas
But it's
Eve?
also Hanukkah. So I don't know what year this was. Like, was Hanukkah
Oh,
The
same
same,
time.
were they on the same day? Because that Jewish family was celebrating Hanukkah that night.
Right.
And then ostensibly it's either Christmas Eve or like, the 23rd or something.
Because I'm wondering, I mean, who throws a party on Christmas Eve? I mean, you should be with your families.
Yeah.
But again, maybe that's the
Maybe
thing.
that's
Maybe
the
all these
thing.
people
They
don't have families.
Yeah. There's like the hospital is their family.
I guess so.
Yeah. Anyway, so that's, I don't know. To me, those were the big storylines. But then we also just have like all these other doctors.
Oh my God, so many other doctors. Let's talk about
What do you want to talk about?
Doug,
Okay.
aka
I have
Dr.
so-
Ross.
I have so much to say about this.
I.e. George Clooney, everybody. Loved it. Loved it. Totally underutilized.
Okay, this is my rant.
Okay, go.
I
Go.
just
Do it.
not understand how you have a show with George Clooney, like arguably like sexiest man alive, like 30 years ago, sexiest man alive, today, sexiest man, like this is the most attractive man maybe like in the history of the world, like just like objectively. And like he doesn't have a storyline in this show. He doesn't seem to have a love interest. Like he just seems like they're treating him like an average human. George Clooney is not an average human. Like he is not on the same level as Dr. Green, the nerd. Like why aren't they giving him special treatment? Why don't all the other women want to hook up with him? Like, why aren't they fighting for him? Why aren't they like asking about his relationship history? Like trying to bring him to the closet? Like why are people not fighting over this man and making him the center of the show? This is my biggest complaint, Varun, and I do not understand it.
I don't get it either.
I can't.
Come on. Mistletoe. I mean, I could write the storyline of like every one of the nurses is trying to trap him underneath mistletoe or something like that. And he just laughs it off or something. I don't know.
But they don't see, like nobody seems
No
like
one-
they even
no
are
one-
attracted
yeah,
to him. Like
no.
nobody is interested. Nobody's giving him looks of like interest. Like what? How is this possible? He is the most attractive man by far in this hospital and city and planet, I guess. I don't know. I'm
Okay.
so confused.
So in your deep dive
Yeah.
for George Clooney.
Oh, I did a deep dive on this.
Okay. So where is this in his career?
Okay, great. Thank you. So this is the beginning. I mean, like, yes, he did small stuff before this, but this launches his career.
That's what I thought. Okay.
So what's so interesting is like this clearly launches his career. So he's in this show from like 1994 to 1999. So the first like 5-6 seasons. So that's it. And then year 2000 is when Oh Brother Where Art Thou comes out. I think that's his first movie.
No,
Do you remember?
No,
Oh
you
Brother, Where
are.
Art Thou?
Yeah, I remember that
Yeah.
movie, but no, you were completely missing out on Batman and Robin.
Oh, sorry. Okay, sorry. He was in Batman in like 1999.
Yeah,
Or
probably
98.
One of the worst Batman movies out there, and where Batman has nipples on his
Yeah.
bat suit.
Okay.
But
excuse me for overlooking that one. But you're right. You're right. He was in that.
and what was the other movie?
And then
with-
2001 is Ocean's 11. Like that to me is when he like explodes.
No, wasn't he also in a movie with Jennifer Lopez?
I didn't see that in my.
There's some
IMDb
other
deep dive.
like. No, I think you're missing a couple movies here.
Okay, well,
I
to
think you're
me,
missing.
like from my frame of reference, like to me, Ocean's 11 was like a huge thing in pop culture, and like that, like he was, I mean, like a sex symbol. I feel like after that movie, I don't know. So like all that to say, ER launches his career, makes him who he is today.
That makes sense.
Yeah, but I just feel like he, as you said, underutilized. Like maybe in later seasons, I just feels like this is season 2. Like what is his purpose? I don't understand.
I mean, he treated some of the patients.
Yeah, he's just a normal doctor.
Yeah, the
like
Zamboni.
McDreamy is not a normal doctor. McSteamy is not a normal doctor. Like, yes, they treat patients and they are sex symbols. I just don't understand. That's my rant.
I'm sorry, Christy. No, but I get it. I completely get it. And
Anyway, but he literally does nothing in this episode. Like, just normal doctor treating patient stuff.
I am going through my notes, and yeah, nothing. He doesn't do anything.
Yeah. But then the other person that, do you recognize Noah Wiley? He plays Carter, the like intern guy.
I do not recognize him either.
Okay, well, he was also just like, I don't know. I feel like in my 90s like teen beat magazines, he was like one of the heartthrobs. So
Okay.
you probably don't recognize him because you probably didn't have pinup pictures of heartthrobs on your wall in the
How
90s.
dare you assume
Maybe
that?
you did. I don't know.
I do not know.
Okay. But he was also just kind of like this heartthrob of the time. So like
From
pop
what else?
culture-
Just from ER? Or from
so
what?
I was like, oh, he had to have been in so much other stuff because I remember him as being a heartthrob. Not really. Like this was like his one big thing that he was in.
Oh, interesting.
But here's my last thing I'm going to say about them as heartthrobs. There's an episode of Friends Do you remember this? There's a crossover episode.
No.
Okay, there is an episode of Friends where Rachel and Monica go to the doctor or like go to the hospital or something to get, I forget, like Rachel has some sort of injury. And she has to like pretend, she pretends to use Monica's insurance. And so she has to like pretend she's Monica because she doesn't have insurance. The doctors who treat them are George Clooney and Noah Wyle.
Oh, I think I kind of remember this.
Yes. So it's like this crossover event and they're like, oh my God, these doctors are so attractive. So like in
Of course,
Friends,
NBC.
like in Friends, they recognize that these are like two extremely hot doctors. But like in their own shows, they're not being valued that way. And yes, I'm talking about men's attractiveness level as their value because it's the 90s.
How dare you?
I just feel
This show should be honored for not focusing on just looks
know.
and their qualities
You're right.
as doctors. I mean, I don't know.
This is me failing as a feminist, but like just for entertainment value. I just don't understand. But anyway, so Friends in that little crossover episode, they treated them as like sex symbol heartthrob doctors, and it was clearly like a crossover event.
I mean, I'm sure, and again, as you were saying, in pop culture,
Yeah.
everyone knew them as sex symbols.
Yeah.
And maybe in the show, they just weren't treated that way.
I know.
I'm sorry.
I don't know.
I'm sorry.
And I do wonder, like, is his name Mr. Carter because he's not a doctor yet.
He's not
so
a
like
doctor
Noah
yet,
Wyle's
no.
character, the intern. My hunch is that if he's not already going to be involved in some relationship drama, just because he seems to be like the younger, like, I don't know, just like the way he was kind of like, oh, he's like buddy with all the patients. I could see him being in more relationship type drama.
Oh, for sure. He's like the young hotshot
Yeah.
doctor.
Yeah. So I could see that way more than what they were setting up George Clooney's character to be, which I don't appreciate.
I'm sorry.
Anyway, that's my rant about George Clooney. I appreciate you, George. Keep doing you.
Oh, I love George Clooney. But talking about Carter and how his storyline blended with Peter.
Is that Dr. Benton?
I think so.
Yeah, that sounds right.
Yes.
IMDb. I had to look them all up. I don't know.
Okay. Well, anyway, Peter is the one who, we get introduced to, but his main thing in the beginning is the racism that he faces.
Oh, yeah.
by
Because he's a
the
black
two
doctor,
white
right?
doctors.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
He's a black doctor who is, when one old white doctor drops something, asks the black doctor to pick it up for him, which is ridiculous. And then, other doctor comes in who is he's again, one of those old white guy actors. That's like that guy from a million other TV shows and movies. Comes, pulls him, says he needs Peter's help. And Peter's like, oh yeah, this is great. It's awesome. But then he comes to find out that he's using him because he's black, and the family that has rejected the surgery is also black.
Yeah.
So I was hoping to utilize that, but I mean, Carter comes in and
Carter's
apparently he's
the one who
already
saves the day.
taking care of things.
He's schmoozing with the patients' families, and he gets them to sign off.
Yeah.
Yeah. This also just felt like this storyline of like they're doing this surgery and they want to get people to do it, and they're trying to like break a speed record on the surgery.
I did not like that.
I hated this too. Like,
Does this actually happen? I think it does actually happen.
Yes, I'm sure it does, and that was very concerning, right? So they're just like convincing patients to do a surgery by, I don't know if they're lying by saying it's good or it really is good. I don't know enough about surgery. And then their whole thing is they just want patients to do it so they can break records.
I got a very icky feeling from Carter when he was talking to the
But
second.
Don't you feel like Carter kind of knew he shouldn't be doing it?
No, I
Oh.
think I got the sense that he was, he's a salesman now,
Yeah.
and he knows it. And the way he was acting and everything, he was trying to convince this husband to
know, that was
get his
gross.
wife to have this.
But it did seem like it was successful.
Yeah, it was successful, and Peter ended up breaking the
I know,
record for the
breaking the
year.
record.
But after that conversation that Carter had with that old man, I turned to my wife and I said, there should be a medical lawyer in hospitals there to help represent that are not affiliated with the hospitals that can help people make decisions. Because if I want to put myself in that old man's position, so stressed out, you don't know anything about this. I don't know anything about this.
You just have to trust your doctor.
You have to trust your doctor.
Or trust this random doctor at the emergency room.
Exactly. And this random doctor is trying to push his buddy to to get a break a record.
Yeah. I will say things like this also have come up. We've recently done like a rewatch of Scrubs, and there have been storylines on Scrubs where doctors will be like, I won't do that type of surgery because it's going to hurt my record. Like, it's a lot about like what's going to look good for them as the doctor.
Yes.
And like they won't do a risky surgery because it would look bad for them if the patient died. So it does make me wary. Like, thank you, doctors, for all that you do, and please do the right thing. It makes me wary that they're maybe not always doing it for the right reasons.
Exactly. And I mean, it also comes back to lawyers too, right? People that we put so much trust in. And it's well known that a lot of lawyers will not take on cases because it'll hurt their win
Exactly.
rate.
Yeah. Yeah. So it just felt familiar. But I don't know. It was also interesting to me that it ended up like fine. Like the patients survived and like it all was good. I just feel like on Grey's Anatomy and Scrubs, the patients always die. Not always, but like the priest dies in this episode. But for the most part, like their surgeries were successful and like the grandmother's baby came back. Like everything was like a happy ending other than the priest dying. Should we talk about the priest dying? That felt so random.
That was very random because we get introduced to the priest, comes into the emergency room like halfway through the episode.
Yeah.
And I mean, that storyline should be a whole episode storyline.
Yes.
Where you have a priest who's dying, he's shot, and you have his one gang who's loyal to him, or I
was
don't know,
so even confused by their
parishioners,
relationship. Was it a
and
gang?
I think that they were a gang.
And they were somehow working with the priest or something?
It
was so confusing because it was not explained at all.
No, it wasn't. But then this priest is, he knows he's going to die. He wants to tell Diablo that, make sure he knows it wasn't the rival gang. I forget the name of the gang.
Who killed him or whatever, yeah.
Right. It wasn't them who shot him, but Diablo doesn't believe him. And, Diablo is, telling his buddies and calling up and saying, we're going to go get him and get revenge.
Yeah.
And then it was a genie, I think.
Yeah.
Comes in and says, this is not what, the priest would want. He was trying to save lives, everything.
Yeah.
And then also, like, when the priest died, like, everyone's so sad and everyone's so emotional.
I know.
I'm like,
We
just
didn't even
met the guy.
We didn't even know him.
How am I supposed to feel sorry and feel sad that this guy died when we just met him?
This is, again, the problem. Sorry for bringing back other shows, but like Scrubs, Grey's Anatomy, like you get to know characters because they have an arc or they're like on for multiple episodes. So you care about them when they die. Like this just was like, okay, somebody came in, they died. Somebody came in, they died. Like, I don't care.
Scrubs did a fantastic,
Yes.
right? Scrubs would introduce you to a character that's just a random new patient that one of the doctors is caring for. You get to know them, and then by the end of the episode, they've passed away, and you feel it.
Yes.
It sucks. You feel it with those doctors, too, all the characters. And this one, I didn't feel it.
No, yeah.
But they're all so sad.
Yeah. Well, and it was like very traumatic. Like this happened right in the middle of the ER. Like they couldn't even get to like an OR or whatever because it was like he died so fast or whatever. So
I did like that part.
It was just like, I mean, it was drama, but also it was like, again, I don't even know who these people are. So I'm confused by like, are we going to care about this gang next episode? Is this ongoing? I honestly have no idea.
No, we're not. We're not going to care.
I don't know. But I think she was a nurse, Jeannie, because I had to look it up. But this was like her only storyline really was just like being involved in this. I also was like, she looks so familiar. Did you ever watch Mr. Robot?
No.
Okay, she was in that. I had to look it up because I was like, I know who this person is.
But you know where Peter is from?
Who's Peter? Oh, Dr. Benton?
Dr. Bennett, yeah. I'm sorry. We're
Sorry,
off here on names. It's so tough.
There's so many people.
All right, fine. Peter,
I just
a.k.a.
looked him
Dr.
up,
Benton.
but I don't think he was memorable to me.
He is from one of my favorite movies of all time, Coming to America.
Oh, yes, I did see that. Yes.
I loved it.
Okay, we also did completely gloss over the fact that Carol is played by Juliana Margulies.
And what is she from again? I was trying to
figure out.
She's
been in a ton of stuff. So most recently, she was in The Morning Show. I don't know if you watched that.
No.
Okay, well, that's what I most recently saw her in. But she's been in a ton of stuff, too.
But what was she? We're talking about Carol, right?
Yeah, Carol.
She was in like in the 2010s. She was in some CBS show, but I couldn't.
She's in a ton of stuff. I didn't write them all down because I was like, oh yeah, this is this. But anyway, like literally half of these people are like, oh, these are famous people
exactly,
now, which is crazy.
Even Diablo, I was like, that guy is from Friday After Next. Great movie.
I don't know that one. No, I don't know. Was there any other storyline? I feel like there was so much going on. That was all the things, right?
I really do.
We had that random woman whose boyfriend came in for, it was like a 2-second storyline.
Right. Carrie.
Oh, I didn't even like write her name down because it was just like such a fast storyline. So like randomly in the middle of the episode, her boyfriend, I guess, comes from Africa. Like,
Yes.
just shows up and she's happy and then she leaves.
I thought it was just like an old friend.
Oh,
the
I
way
thought
she
they were, like,
initially.
together.
No, I'm saying
Oh,
when
okay,
he
okay.
first walked in, I thought, Mungisi walks in and, but then she runs over and starts, they start making out hardcore and
Yeah.
everyone else is shocked. No one else knows about this.
It was so random. But she has to be a main character in other episodes.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. I recognize her from
She's also,
commercials
been
and
in
other
stuff,
things
yeah.
for ER. That is.
Yeah. I don't know. But I just, again, it's just like there were 15 small storylines and nothing mattered.
Yeah, why? I cannot believe that they introduced this and didn't talk about it more.
No, I mean, I don't know. Maybe this just isn't the style for me where it's you just get like 5 seconds of a story each episode. So you just have to piece it all together like 5 seconds at a time. I don't love it.
No, I didn't love it either. Things I did like though were this did remind me. You mentioned it earlier, character from West Wing.
Mm-hmm.
I was fully expecting this to see Aaron Sorkin's name tagged
Oh, good point.
to this, but it wasn't. But Michael Crichton's name was, and Michael Crichton
Yeah.
famously from so many things, but also Jurassic Park.
That's a good point. And I wonder if I went back and watched West Wing. Because I don't know. I just feel like the fast pacedness. Again, I get why. It's because they want to simulate the ER reality. And I know West Wing was also fast paced, but I don't remember West Wing having like 15 different storylines per episode.
No, it didn't have. I was not a huge West Wing
Oh my
person.
God, Warren.
I'm
It's
sorry.
like one of the best shows ever made.
I know. I'm fully aware.
You need to go back and
one of
watch
these
it.
days,
It's
I will
still
get
relevant
into
today.
it. Is it really still relevant today?
100%. There's still so many stories that happen that you're like, oh, this is what we're still fighting about in politics 25 years later.
Old white man in the White House? Yeah.
Literally.
Yeah.
It's all the same thing.
Still relevant.
Anywho, yes. So there are things I appreciated about it and things that were not my style.
I mean, we are floating right into the. Okay, so anything else we want to talk about with this episode? I think we've covered pretty much everything.
Yeah, I mean, this is the only other thing. So the episode is, what's it called? Like a miracle happens here.
It is A Miracle Happens Here.
Yeah. So you start the episode and you're like, oh, this is going to be a Christmas episode. So the only thing that, again, was kind of interesting was the fact that the miracle actually turned out to be like the Jewish woman's granddaughter coming back, right?
No, I disagree. I think
What was the miracle then?
I think the show is trying to posit that there are different miracles that have happened.
Then what was
here.
the other miracle besides the
One
baby coming
miracle
back?
being the baby coming back.
Okay.
Another miracle being gang war is being stopped.
That's not a miracle.
Another
No, it's not.
miracle.
That didn't happen.
I'm just telling you what
Okay,
I
okay.
think this is what the show is doing.
Okay, what's the other miracle?
And the other miracle is Carol finding the joy of Christmas.
That's not a miracle.
I think-
That's just like a
in
happy
the ER?
thing.
I think that's a miracle in an
Oh
ER.
my God. Okay. Oh, also, like you did reference, it's like a miracle on 34th Street, like
Oh, that
Santa
too.
being there.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just feel like the most overt miracle was like the Jewish grandbaby like showing back up.
Well, that's definitely one of them. And I'm not saying that these are great miracles. I'm just telling you, if you're going to title your show A Miracle Happens Here, then that is going to be the theme throughout the whole episode.
Okay.
And I'm telling you, this is what the show
Okay.
is trying to tell us. It's trying to posit these are the miracles that have happened in this show.
Okay.
This
It
episode.
didn't land for me. Okay. That was the only other thing that I was just like, okay, we should probably chat on that. Yeah.
All right. Well, so let's hop right over into acting quality.
Ooh.
So on a rating of A being the best acting and F being, just absolute garbage acting, how would you rate the acting in this show, Christy?
I feel like we always disagree on this question. I'm gonna say B+. I thought it was pretty good. You always disagree with me.
I disagree.
I'm always like reality TV A+. No, why didn't you like it?
And I don't think we always disagree.
Okay,
I think we are able to come to a common.
okay, what's your answer
agreement.
then? What's your answer?
Oh, for this one, I think
Yeah.
it's like a C.
Why?
I don't think anyone's acting was fantastic. aside from the old Jewish grandmother, I was never impressed by
Okay.
anyone's acting. Am I supposed to think that Dr. Green walking around Chicago looking mournful is supposed to be great acting? It's
Maybe.
okay.
I believed them as
George
doctors, though.
Clooney
Like, they
just,
did a pretty good job pretending to be doctors.
I guess so.
That trauma scene where the priest died, like, they were, like, fully looking like doctors.
Okay, looking like doctors. I can throw on a medical coat and look like a doctor
No,
too.
like, the way they were acting was very doctor-like.
Okay, I'm just gonna
Okay,
say
fine,
I'm gonna have to
fine.
disagree with you on this
Agree.
one.
We're gonna
That
disagree.
the acting in this episode, again, there has to be a reason why this series lasted for so long.
Yeah.
I'm just saying this one episode that we watched, the acting was just
Okay. I would come down to like a B, but I don't think it's that bad. Okay, I'll go B. Fine. B. Okay.
All right. So then transitioning over to the rock rating. This again is our representation of color scoring based on POCs in the episode that we watched on a 1 out of 10 or a 0 out of 10 too, because we've had some shows where it's a 0. I'm going to give this one a 9.
Wow, a 9.
Yeah. I think that they
Okay.
were. Oh, wait. Now you made me rethink this
I
one.
feel like nine's high.
Nine's high.
There was
Well,
still
no,
a
let
fair
me-
amount of white people.
There are a fair amount of white people. All the lead characters are white. We did have nurses.
Dr. Benton is black.
And Jeannie was black. We did it again. I will include. I was very happy of the Hanukkah and
Jewish
the
representation,
Jewish representation
yeah.
in this too. Okay, fine. I'll change it to an 8 out of 10.
Okay, yeah. I
That's
just feel
my.
like for the amount of like white people as leads, that might feel high. But
Yeah.
I was though pretty impressed for the 1995. This felt. I mean, this was way better than shows that we have watched that are more recent. So
Oh, very true.
yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All
No, I mean overall, I thought it was pretty good.
I was
Yeah.
I was enjoying it. I was happy with the themes of the show.
Yeah.
It wasn't just just having POCs in there.
Right. They weren't
talk
just
about-
there as like
Yeah.
tokens and stuff.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Where they, Dr. Ben had a legitimate storyline
Yeah,
that included
yeah.
about racism.
That's true.
Which I
Yeah.
loved. So
No, I mean honestly, like again for 1995, like pretty. I don't want to say groundbreaking, but like better than a lot of other shows.
and let's not forget the priest and Diablo. We had,
Oh yeah, that's true. Okay.
Hispanic, Latino
Good job,
characters
ER.
too. Yeah. There
Yeah.
you go.
Yeah. Okay.
So, did you like it? We've kind of been touching this one.
I didn't not like it. I just don't know if I would want to keep watching it. Again, like the pace I don't love, the amount of storylines I don't love. If you can guarantee me that George Clooney will have a love interest and a like relationship related storyline, I would watch that episode.
I mean, I would put money down, obviously, that he's going to have both those things.
Okay. Well,
Happen.
so yes, maybe if I knew George Clooney was being utilized more for his looks than he is right now.
But the question isn't, are you going to watch it again? The question is, did you like it?
Oh, sorry. Average. Yes, ish.
Yes, ish.
Ish, yes. Sure. Kind of.
I mean, I for me, I had very high expectations
Oh, okay.
for this show
Okay.
because it's
Yeah,
it's
no, it
ER,
is. It's like
right?
groundbreaking, or like people say it's groundbreaking. Or
Exactly.
whatever,
Everyone, every millennial and
Yeah.
older, you mention ER and you know exactly
Yeah.
what you're talking about. And I mean, my wife's gonna kill me because she loves
I know.
this show.
Does
and
she
even-
still love it even after watching it now?
Yes, she wants to go back and rewatch every
Wow,
episode.
okay.
For me, it was just okay.
Yeah. Okay. I feel
Based
the
on
same,
this
yeah.
episode, it was just okay. As I said before, it because of the way it was hopping around so much,
Mm-hmm.
and the way I wasn't feeling like I could connect with the storylines. It just I was getting distracted and
Yeah. Yeah.
just didn't really do it for
I don't
me.
know. Maybe if we went back to, the pilot, met the characters from the get-go, like we'd connect.
But that's not the point of this podcast, Christy.
And I'm not going to actually be doing that, but maybe in theory if that happened. But yeah, I don't know. Yeah, that's my takeaway. I thought it was a good watch. I'm glad we watched it. Again, like it made me like the fact that I'd never seen ER before, I felt like a bad millennial. So thank God now I can say, yes, I've seen it. So here we go.
There we go.
Check.
Check. All right. Well, anything else you want to talk about with
No,
ER?
I mean, just justice for George Clooney.
I think that's a good way to end it. All right. So thanks for listening, everyone. Remember to follow us and come back next week for our next random episode.
Bye.